welcome. Thank you for joining me. I am so excited to talk to you again this year. We have some great new products that I want to talk to you about for the data center, and we also have a customer here that can share with you what we've done together as partners. I've been fortunate to be in the technology industry now for the last 30 years, believe it or not. And it's been an exciting adventure for me, and I've really enjoyed it. And more recently, I've worked for now the most iconic brand in the technology industry today, and that is Hewlett-Packard. And as the co-founder of HP, David Packard once said, "To remain static is to lose ground." And I really believe, having been in this industry for as long as I have, that we are losing ground. And primarily because the network has remained static. It hasn't changed in terms of how we manage it, how we deploy it, how we architect it. Several things that we do today, we did them exactly the same way 20, 30 years ago. And it really does need to change. The data center network is extremely complex still. It has multiple tiers of architectures. It goes north-south when actually traffic is moving east-west. It's very difficult to know what's in the network and what isn't. It's very constrained. The bandwidth limitations continue to be a problem in the data center, and it's very hard to change. To manually configure every switch in your data center causes a lot of time to get to a new solution. It also can cause errors in the network because you have so many changes you have to make on a daily basis in order to get to where you want to go. So really, the data center network right now is at a breaking point based on the way we've been doing things over the last several years. And at HP, we really want to change how you network the data center and what goes on in the data center network. And we believe we've brought new products to market, and we made an announcement actually last week about these products that really can change how data center networking is done. The products that we made an announcement around primarily provide for simplicity in the data center network. In fact, up to 75% more simple management, administration, deployment, architecture of that network. We also are providing more scalability, up to 2 times larger scale than our leading competitor in terms of the fabric that we've created for the data center. And we've created quite a bit of automation, and that's actually a differentiator for us in terms of what we do at HP Networking. We provide a lot of automation within our products, and what we believe and actually have proven, and if you would like to go see our products in the exhibit hall, you can see this, that we can take configuration and changing the things that you need to do in the network down from months to minutes. So we know that a paradigm shift has to occur for our customers, and we've created products to support that. Let me just briefly go over the products that we've announced, and as I said, we'd love to have you come to the booth to see them, but just briefly, first, our Flex Fabric virtual switch for the 5900 that has EVB and VEPA, and I'll go into these in more detail in just a minute. Several new switches, the 11900 aggregation switch or end-of-row switch, the 12900 core switch, and our new HSR 6800 series router for the wide area network, as well as a virtual router, our virtual services router, which I'll talk more about. And then finally, a lot of automation. So just as with many other of our switching platforms, we have enabled OpenFlow 1.3 in the switching products that you see today in the data center. The goal there, of course, is to get you to SDN, as we've been talking about for several months. And we've added in our new SDN Manager module as part of our Intelligent Management Center, which is our management platform that goes across all of our products. Now, I'm going to just dive down into each of them to give you a little bit more detail about them. So our FlexFabric Virtual Switch 5900 is really interesting. This is essentially, it combines the physical network with the virtual network, and it delivers advanced functionality that goes beyond the hypervisor vSwitch with functionality such as quality of service or ACLs, and it's delivered all by COM 7, our operating system. It simplifies operations by keeping the functions where they belong. So the switching remains in the switch, and it passes functionality to the hypervisor via VEPA. So we use a standard to provide that solution and give you the ability to converge virtual and physical network together with this product. Our 11900 series end-of-row or aggregation data center switch is primarily meant to support very large scale-out environments, like Hadoop is a good example of that. It's the first data center aggregation switch that supports Trill and SPB. Now, we've been talking about this for a long time, and we are the first to deploy that within our data center products. And what's really cool about that is we add that with a technology that we've developed within HP called Intelligent Resilient Framework, or IRF, and some of you may know what that is. That provides virtualization of several switches together. So you can virtualize all of your core switches, your top of racks. You can virtualize them as if they're a single flat fabric. And then you can utilize Trill to enhance that scalability to thousands of ports. It's a big announcement for us, and I think it's a really big advantage to our customers. It's also the first aggregation switch for the data center to support OpenFlow 1.3, which gives you the investment protection you're looking for and the ability to, when you want to, deploy your SDN controller and start utilizing SDN within your data center to virtualize that network. And finally, it's very cost effective for very large scale out environments like Hadoop as an example. We're also announcing a new core switch. This is really exciting for us. This is our next generation 1200 series called the 12900. And it supports virtualized, large-scale cloud deployments. It's a very dense switch, and it provides up to twice the switching capacity of our leading competitor. It also has OpenFlow 1.3, so again, you can enable it for SDN functionality. And again, it supports Trill and SPB. So it truly provides a flat fabric, a highly scalable fabric that can then all be managed from a single point of control in the network if you would like to. So now I want to talk about our wide area network offering as well. We have the HSR 6800 series router. This is, again, very high performance product. It's ideal for large scale, high performance, high density data center routing requirements. It's up to 7 times the routing performance of our nearest competitor. And it's the industry's first router to support network virtualization with our IRF functionality. Again, you can actually have that as part of the mesh or fabric of your data center. And it offers integrated firewall as well as IPsec VPN, sorry. So it provides VPN functionality and firewall functionality in the same product. And then we have a virtual router called our virtual services router. So as you know, there's a new technology trend emerging called NFV, or network function virtualization. And this is primarily for the service provider space or for cloud providers where they want to virtualize much of the functionality in the data center and be able to utilize it on an x86 platform. Well, this is what we've done with our product. We've actually created a virtual router using our COM 7 operating system, and it can be deployed on any x86 platform in the data center. So it really brings this NFV functionality to life for our service provider customers and our cloud customers. And it provides that for multi-tenant environments in particular, really important, across the entire network infrastructure. And what it does for them is it provides 10 times faster time to revenue for them and an 87% drop in OpEx. So this concept of network function virtualization that we've been talking about now can be made real with products that HP is developing. And then finally, we're offering our Intelligent Management Center module, which is our SDN Manager module. And it's the first fully enabled SDN management tool available on the market today. So it features full configuration, monitoring, and provisioning, as well as management to allow you to deploy SDN very quickly in an automated way. And I want to show you the ecosystem that HP has built around SDN. So as you know, we made an announcement last October about our SDN portfolio. We have the most complete SDN portfolio in the industry today. So let me walk you through the ecosystem. What you can see is that our portfolio spans the infrastructure layer, the control layer, the application layer, and then business applications. In the control layer, we have over 40 platforms that are now OpenFlow enabled within our product offering and 20 million OpenFlow enabled ports in the market today. That's the largest by 39, just by the way, in terms of how many switches other folks have out there that are OpenFlow enabled. We also offer our SDN controller, which we made an announcement about last October. We've been in beta now with about 60 customers, and it's going live later this year. And then we've created 5 new applications for SDN. And some of these applications you can see in our booth. They're actually really cool. They're very different than what you might think SDN can be used for. So one is virtual cloud network. So this is a way to virtualize your network in a cloud environment. And that's an application we're using today in our HP Cloud. Sentinel Security is another application. This is a really interesting application where we've dissolved the IPS capability into the switch fabric itself using the SDN controller and our tipping point DVB rep cloud. So the cloud will download signatures into the SDN controller, which then pushes those all the way out to the switching ports, so that if you have an individual that brings a device into your network that may have something bad on it or wants to go to a website that is a known bad website or a website with problems, the network itself will block that device at the port of entrance. So that's a very big difference than what goes on today, where all that traffic ends up getting dragged through the network to the DMZ and to the IPS that's sitting there. And essentially, you no longer need the IPS. The network does it for you. We also have load balancing application, which we created that with CERN. And CERN moves petabytes of data, as you may know, across their data center all the time, every day. And so the idea there is we've dissolved the load balancing functionality again into the network so that the network senses the flows and modifies bandwidth as necessary. WAN bursting is another application we've created. This we've worked with Verizon on. And the idea here is if you have a data center and you want to burst to a cloud data center, perhaps with a service provider, what you can do essentially is utilize our SDN controller to then burst over the WAN, and the WAN will modify bandwidth as necessary for your burst. We even do this today with one of our customers, DreamWorks. And then finally, I'm going to show you a little clip about this. This is our Unified Communications link application. So this is really interesting. Today, we have essentially, when you're using Link, you have to over-provision the network for guest users. And what you can see on the video behind me is these are 2 users that are trying to share their desktop on the right-hand side. And they're having problems because basically they see different things. They're not synchronized together. And the console, our console is on the left-hand side, and what you'll see is again, continuing to have jitter and problems with synchronization. When we enable the SDN application that we work together with Link on to provide a new experience, you'll see that right now. Okay, it's enabling. The two screens for those users are the same, and the video is beautiful. And you didn't have to over-provision the network. Essentially, the network can dynamically respond to a session that is brought up by a user and then create quality of service and prioritization. And when that session is done, it tears down the bandwidth, so it's used somewhere else. That's the idea. You can't do that today manually. It's impossible. You need to use something like an SDN capability in order to make that happen. Well, we have a customer here today that I'd like to introduce you to who can explain what his company has done with HP networking solutions to modernize their data center. I'm pleased to introduce Conrad Menezes,